From the campus of Seton Hill University in Greensburg, Pennsylvania, it's the NCAA Division II matchup, the California Vulcans versus the Seton Hill Griffins. Hello and welcome to the broadcast. I'm Anthony D'Agostino, and alongside me today is Zach Prosba. And Zach, first time calling a game in a long time with you on television. It feels good to be back.
Yeah, it definitely feels good, and even though this game may not really matter much for California in terms of the standings, really all it matters for is Coach Brown, who earlier this week announced his retirement following the season. These boys want to go out there and they want to get the final 4 games for Coach Brown as victories. And honestly, at that point, then you kind of realize, why couldn't you do this early in the season? But now they can play spoiler because they get Seton Hill and Gannon coming up, and as well as Edinboro and Mercyhurst, who are teams fighting for playoff positioning. Gannon is not; they are eliminated as well as California. But Seton Hill, right now, they are 7th in the standings, but they have a sweep over Slippery Rock this year, so they would be in if they end up tied with them. So California just wants to come playing spoiler after their loss on Wednesday.
And they lost to Slippery Rock 57-48. Seton Hill took on Gannon and lost by won by only 2 points, 59-57, the final score there. That was at Seton Hill. As we said before, California, the second half of the season, especially starting at Clarion, they fought it. They fought through, and they got within a few points, but just couldn't pull out those winning games.
And it goes back to last season and maybe even a little bit the season before, where California, in the last 2 minutes of game, they shut down. They can't do anything. And hopefully maybe over these last 4 games, we start to see a trend towards them being able to accomplish something, which would be very good to see, maybe momentum towards next season. Because you're losing Khalil Jabi and Richard Smith and Dombrowski and Belhai. But you have a lot of skilled players that are going to be coming back for you that could really do some damage for this team, especially Luka Andjusic, Nick Miller, Daniel Sapp, and Tony Richardson. I'd love to see him evolve, maybe over these next 4 games, start to see him maybe become the post player that California needs him to be able to win some games.
Definitely, as Tony Richardson's been struggling from the foul line, even in the paint a few times this year. We're going to give you your starters for this evening's contest. Start off with Seton Hill, number 1, Trevor Blondin, number 2, Spencer Kassan, number 5, Cameron Taylor, number 14, Brandon Alston, and number 21, Noah Davis.
And you look at the California starters, this is a lineup that's been changing all year long. And while I'm not a proponent of that, Coach Brown just goes with the guys that have been hot from the game before and trying to get them on a momentum streak. You have Jabi, Smith, Richardson, Nick Miller, and Luka Andjusic, all guys that can shoot and rebound for this team, and that's what you need today. You need some shooters. You need to get the offense going, as well as playing some good defense. That's the one thing that's been lacking for Cal all season long is defense, even though they have been holding some opponents down in terms of points over the last couple of weeks in terms of Mercyhurst and Slippery Rock.
And you got to hope that California, at least in these last few games, puts up a fight, even though they are out of playoff contention. As you said before, play spoiler and play for Coach Brown to end his season on a high note.
And this is the first time we've seen California in the red away jerseys in a few weeks. They were on a home stretch. Now they're on 3 straight road games as Richard Smith wins the opening tip.
And wins it to Khalil Jabi, who takes it over half court. Jabi gives it over to Richard Smith. Smith goes to Richardson. Now Richardson inside to Nick Miller. Nick Miller puts up 2 points.
And we usually do not see that, where Richardson's at the top of the key and Miller is going in. But a nice start for him. You want to get Nick Miller alive in the offense because he's a potent scorer. You just got to get him the ball in situations where he can catch and shoot like that one.
That was good awareness. Nick Miller wide open in a low post. As now Seton Hill's Davis is with it. Hands it off. Now it's number 5, Taylor. Inside there's number 14, Alson. And with the dunk is Spencer Kassan. And
Kassan, he is one of the premier post players in this conference. He comes in with 74 blocks, tops in the PSAC, and we see a steal here by Davis.
And Richard Smith trying to go inside to Tony Richardson, just passed it right to Noah Davis. As now Cameron Taylor has it for the Griffins.
And Noah Davis is a player that has really been on the side of California as a thorn throughout the 3 years that Seton Hill's been in the conference. I remember the first time I ever came here, he was almost in a full-out brawl with Armand Marks. You remember Armand Marks? He was one of the best guys you'll ever meet.
And now Cameron Taylor with it. Goes over to Noah Davis as there's a travel.
No. Actually, they're going to call a foul here.
They're actually going to call a foul. I thought it looked like they were making a travel call.
I thought they were going to do a travel, too. I thought the ref was going to start shaking his hands.
That's what I thought.
That was a ticky-tack foul. I think Richard Smith was well behind him when they called that foul.
And a shot clock was winding. That was at 2 seconds. Now wide open from the three-point line. No good. That was number 1, Trevor Blondin, who gets that one to fall through.
Trevor Blondin, not a name that I remember from my couple of years being here, but he averages 14.6 a night. He's one of the better scorers for the Griffins, although their offense completely runs through Cameron Taylor, who is in the running possibly for Player of the Year in the West.
Now California with it. Richard Smith. Stolen away there by Trevor Blondin. Not hard enough pass there to get to Nick Miller.
And Seton Hill is a defense-first team, and they're going to do that all game. They're going to try and force some turnovers to turn it into offense, much like the Cal women's team does.
Brandon Alston with it, goes over to Noah Davis. Fake handoff there as he passes it over to Blondin. Blondin to Davis. Davis going up against Khalil Jabi. It's good. 2 points for Seton Hill. Now Khalil Jabi. Jabi with it. Goes to Nick Miller, far side. Miller passes over to Richard Smith. Luke Andrzejczyk for 3. It's just rims out. Rebounded there by number 21, Noah Davis.
And Andrzejczyk's shooting about 43% from deep this year, which is really good in terms of the rest of the PSAC. But how many times have we seen those shots that he just catches and pops it up where it just rims out on unlucky bounce?
Taylor bounce pass over to Kassan. Kassan, contested shot up, no good. Rebounded by Richard Smith. Now Jabi, fast-paced on the court. Find the lane, goes up for the shot, and he's going to get called for a foul as Brandon Alliston.
We'll see here. It will be a shooting foul, so Alston, that's his first, team first. And Jabi going to go to the line, 84% of the line this season, the best that the Vulcans have, but over the last couple of games, he's really missed a lot of the key free throws that he needs to make for his team.
Yeah, Khalil Jabi's has kind of been a little flat this second half of the season. Not sure why. See if he makes his foul shots here.
And I don't mean to sound harsh when I say this, but he's not gotten better from last year. I expected him and Richard Smith to produce that premier levels of offensive ability, and he's not gotten better. Richard Smith, he's even declined in play a little bit, I think, too. I think teams have adjusted to the way they play after coming over in junior college transfers.
Khalil Jabi makes both of them. California down by 2, 6-4 with 16:50 left. And pressed there by Richard Smith, as now Taylor with it inside with the dunk. Alley-oop, Spencer Kassan.
And Kassan, I think we're going to see a premier matchup. I mentioned that word a lot, premier. But there's a lot of guys here that you can look around the PSAC. There's some top athletes in this game.
Now, Luke Andrzejczyk up for 2 points. No good. Rebounded there by Cameron Taylor.
It looked like that might have been a possible block. There was no block. Actually, they are calling Kassan for a block. He didn't even touch that ball. I think they're padding his stats a little bit, maybe.
And just a little bit. It's Cameron Taylor now with it. 15 on the shot clock. Spencer Kassan passes it over to Alston. Now inside to Davis. 3-point shot up, no good by Blondin. Rebounded there as Tony Richardson saves it to Luke Andrzejczyk.
Nice move there by the big post man.
Now Khalil Jabi setting up his offense for the California Vulcans. Back to Richard Smith. Passes it over to Nick Miller. Miller to Andrzejczyk. There's going to be a travel call there against Luka Andrzejczyk, and he doesn't like it.
I think you also could have called a foul there on Alston, as Alston got a little handsy on that play. We reach our first media timeout, 15:38 left, and again, we're seeing another slow start from this California offense. That's what they did not need to do today. They need to get some effort on the defensive side, which they're letting out too many open passes, they're not forcing any turnovers, and the offense, they're not hitting their shots. That's just been the recipe for California this year. It's precluded them from winning.
Yeah, 1 for 3, 33% from the field for California, and Seton Hill already 4 for 8, 50% from the field. And California turning the ball over 3 times already. Seton Hill hasn't done so yet. And just as you said before, California's offense is sputtering right now, trying to find something to go through there. As Seton Hill's passing has just been perfectly executed to get those points.
Yeah, and if Seton Hill continues that all game long, it's going to be a long game for California. And they have not been a team all year that can force turnovers. I think maybe they need to go to Jeff Strom and say, hey, how do we do it? Because maybe talk to the women's team a little bit. How do we do it? Because you look at the women's team, all they do is intercept the ball away. The men's team, they can't seem to get a hand on the ball sometimes. And when they do, it goes straight out of bounds. I think that's something that could definitely improve next year. We'll see, whenever they hire their new coach, whoever it may be, maybe they come in with a little bit more defensive tendencies, but also use the high-powered offense that California is capable of.
As Seton Hill inbounds it, Taylor with it, goes over to Alston. Drew Cook is now in for the California offense. Look for the alley-oop, but intercepted by Khalil Jabby.
And that's what I'm talking about.
Drew Cook for 3, it's up, no good. Rebounded there by Nate Belhai. Belhai up for 2, no good. Rebounded by Spencer Kassan.
And when you get those second chance opportunities, you got to finish, especially when you're down.
And there's going to be a foul called. Looks like it's going to be on Drew Cook. Spencer Kassan was going up. Drew Cook pushed him out of the way.
And Drew Cook this year, even though he's a junior, he's lost some playing time this season. He's had some times where he's been injured and he didn't play. And then also he's just had times where he just hasn't gotten into the rotation as much. And as a junior, you would expect him to be in the rotation almost every night, maybe even as a starter.
As Trevor Blondin makes his first. He's 74.5% from the line so far this season. And now he makes his second one. Looks like a little press action here for Seton Hill. This is Khalil Jabby going over half court. Deep to Richard Smith. Can't get anywhere with the ball as he puts up a shot, no good. There's going to be a foul called
Offensive
on Nate
foul.
Belhai.
Actually, and this is going on Richard Smith. We'll have to see. Yeah, it is. That's his second. That's big. You're going to probably see him check out for Sapp right here. I thought, honestly, Richard Smith, when he had that, Belhai was open right behind him. Yeah. Now, it would have been a hard pass. Just try and wrap it around a Seton Hill player and get it to Belhai for the easy layup.
Now Davis. Bounce pass over to Alston. Cameron Taylor. Errant pass there. Looked like he was trying to get to Trevor Blondin. Just no one home.
Cameron Taylor does not make mistakes like that very often. He's one of the best players in the PSAC. Like I said, running forward player of the year. He's a 6'6" point guard, basically. How many times can you see that in a league like the PSAC where it's all about the dominant postman? Usually he'd be a forward, but he has the skill set of a point guard, which is what makes him so good for Seton Hill.
Belhai intercepted by Spencer Kassan. It's now Cameron Taylor with it. Taylor bobbled pass there to Spencer Kassan. Hands it off back to Taylor. Taylor over now to Alston, who drained. Actually, that was number 21, Noah Davis, who drains that one for 2.
And you saw right there that nice pass from Cameron Taylor to get that beautiful assist.
Jabby for 2. It's up and good. Khalil Jabby, 2 points, 12-6 in favor of Seton Hill. 14:05 left in the first half.
Jabby has 4 already, and he's been a very slow starter this year, only averaging 9.5 a contest, where I really think he should be up near 13, 14 points a game.
A tipped pass there is picked up by Lukan Jusik. Now Khalil Jabby. Jabby to Belhai. Now Lukan Jusik with it. And Jusik to Belhai. Belhai for 3. It's up. No good. Rebounded there by Alston. Now Cameron Taylor with it. Taylor, contested shot and up good. Cameron Taylor for 2.
And he averages 21 a night. And it was just a matter of time before we saw him get going. If he continues to do that, he may have another big scoring night like he did the first time that these two teams played in January.
Khalil Jabby with it. Trying to find someone to go with the ball. It goes to Lukan Jusik. Deep 3, it's up, no good. Rebounded there by Nate Belhai. Khalil Jabby over to Drew Cook. And Jusik for 3, it's up. No good, misses everything. Wow, that's unusual.
And if you're in Jusic, you have to hit that shot. And you cannot let those misses get to your head either as this game goes on, but you have to hit that. You're wide open. You have a beautiful look. The deep one, you probably could have done without shooting that one. But that one right there, you have to be able to hit that shot when you're down by 8 points early on. 12:55 to go.
Now Seton Hill with it. Cameron Taylor. Taylor goes over to Blondin. Bounce pass to number 20, Bowling. Now Alston over to number 20, Bowling for two. It's up, no good. Rebounded by Richardson.
And that was some good passing, though, by Seton Hill. Getting that open shot, Bowling just could not hit it.
Jabby trying to find somewhere to go with it. Goes over to Nick Miller. Miller goes to Daniel Sapp. Inside of Tony Richardson. This is going to be a pushing foul called on number 20, Tyler Bowling.
That's his first. That's the team's second. 12:20 left, and I want to see them feed Tony Richardson in the post here. These next 4 games, like I said, I want to see Tony Richardson become the premier post guy that California needs over the next couple seasons.
Zach Herman checks in for number 14, Brandon Alston. Nick Miller with it, passes it over to Khalil Jabby. Inside, Tony Richardson. Richardson up for two. It's good. Tony Richardson in the post.
And we've seen him work on his ability to score in the post a lot more on the offensive side of the game over the last few contests. He's 6'8". He's a big guy. He has to start using that ability to his advantage and not just let players beat him up and settle for wild shots.
Taylor stolen away there by Khalil Jabby. It's a 3-on-3. Khalil Jabby up and no good. Contested there. Rebounded there by number 5, Cameron Taylor. And Taylor to Blondin. Blondin looked like he traveled there, but no good there. It's picked up by Tony Richardson.
And that was good defense by Richardson on that play, just standing in one place. And now we're going to foul on Taylor.
Yeah, Cameron Taylor pushing foul on Nick Miller as we've reached our second media timeout with 11:31 to go in the first half. California down 14-8 here at Seton Hill. And Zach, this California team staying in it at least a little bit here in the first half.
Yeah, the one problem, though, they're shooting 25%, and Seton Hill's hitting half of their shots so far. You need that to change. The defense has actually been pretty good so far, I actually think. Getting a couple turnovers. They've actually forced 4 Seton Hill turnovers already, and a lot of them have been on steals. 3 of them, they need to control the ball more and find better shots, though. That's their problem. You saw the play a couple minutes ago where Khalil Jabby got the steal and came charging down by himself. He had 3 other guys with him. Pass it back out, look for a better shot. You had 3 guys right in front of you for Seton Hill, and he put up the contested layup, and of course it did not fall in, and California didn't have a chance for a second chance opportunity.
Well, California also has 0 points off of turnovers against Seton Hill's turnovers. You got to be able to get those turnovers, pick them up, and get at least some points.
Yeah, and Seton Hill, they have to do the same thing. They're forcing 4 California turnovers, but I haven't really seen them capitalize on those as they're starting to maybe go a little cold from the offensive side where they're finding these open looks, but they can't bury the shots in. You have to be able to do that in the PSAC. There's a lot of good defensive teams, there's a lot of good offensive teams, and then you have your teams in the middle that are generally good at one thing or the other. That's these 2 teams, California and Seton Hill. That's what they like to do.
As we get back to action here, Tony Richardson going to inbound it from the baseline to Drew Cook. Now Cordell Smith has it. Smith, pressure defense there by Seton Hill, gets it over to Nick Miller. Miller hands it off to Drew Cook. Cook, 15 seconds. Cordell Smith now. Really tight man defense. Tony Richardson up and good. One coming there. What a shot by Tony Richardson to get the foul call as well.
And that's what I want to see from Tony Richardson. He's doing that a lot more over the last few games, getting a lot more and-one calls. He's not the best player at the free throw line. I think we all know that after watching a few games this year and last season. But he's improving his form as well. Now up to 45%. That's a lot better than last year. He's actually starting to hit a little bit more consistency on his rhythm.
As he makes that one for the three-point play, California down by 3.
You got 11:05 left in the first half. You're only down by 3. Continue this defensive pressure and keep feeding Tony Richardson. He's doing good so far.
Cameron Taylor with it. Goes over to Noah Davis. Back to Cameron Taylor, but he's going to get called for a travel. That's a turnover for Seton Hill.
And Seton Hill, you cannot have these turnovers when you're up 3. I know it's very early in the game, Anthony, you know that as well, but these turnovers now, if you keep them up, get those into a rhythm of turnovers, it's going to affect you late in the game.
As Daniel Sapp passes over to Cordell Smith. Inside of Tony Richardson, loses the ball, but it goes out of bounds on Tyler Bowling.
And they're trying to feed Richardson.
Dangerous pass, though.
It was dangerous. I was about to say, Seton Hill starting to double team him, starting to think in the mind, okay, he's the one guy that's hurting us. We're going to see Kassan check in for Seton Hill, and I think he's the one guy that can really disrupt Tony Richardson down here on the offensive side because they're both kind of bigger guys at 6'8", and Kassan, I mentioned before, leads the PSAC in blocks.
He subbed in for Noah Davis. Deep pass to Tony Richardson. Now inside to Daniel Sapp. Sapp, dangerous pass, but there's going to be a foul called.
I think this one's going on Taylor.
Number 10, I believe it's Zach Herman.
Yeah, it was Herman. I thought Taylor was in the area where they pointed, and I thought if that goes on Taylor, that's huge because he's their best player.
Again, dangerous passes for the Vulcans as Cordell Smith has it now. Goes over to Nick Miller.
And if I'm California, sorry to interrupt you there, I don't look for the 3 here. Just try and get it 1 point at a time.
Nick Miller to Cordell Smith. Smith to Daniel Sapp. To Nick Miller for 3. It's up. No good. Rebounded by Tony Richardson. Put back dunk. Missed everything. A little too close to the basket as Nick Miller gets it, and there's a foul coming. Just a bad mistake by Tony Richardson. Made himself look silly.
I think he got a little too excited, like, ooh, I am wide open. Let's dunk this home. You don't need to do it. Just jump up, float it in there. You're tall enough. You barely need to jump to put the ball in the basket. You don't need to do the
He's like the tallest
jump.
player in the PSAC.
Well, Richard Smith is. Well, actually, no. Yeah, Richard Smith is. Seton Hill had a guy on their roster last year who was 7 feet tall. Miller hits the first. But yeah, Tony Richardson doesn't need to do the dramatic flair.
He went backwards to try to dunk it, and you're not at the right angle to do that.
No, he was right under the basket. Like I said, jump, float it in, get back to their side. That's all you need to do. I mean, you're probably going to get a couple points here. As Miller hits the second, you did get those 2 points, but that could have been a costly turnover where Seton Hill gets the ball and goes and scores instead of Miller getting called for a foul.
Very possible as we reach 10:05 left. 14-13 in favor of Seton Hill. California trying to cut into this lead as Daniel Sapp there guarding Zach Herman. Now pass over, reverse layup is good for Trevor Blondin. Cordell Smith for the California Vulcans. Goes to Khalil Jabby. Jabby to Cordell. Pass it over to Nick Miller. 4-3, it's up and no good. Long distance 3 missed there. Rebounded by Trevor Blondin.
And California does that, it seems, every game. They can't hit the 3 until late in the contest when it doesn't really matter anymore.
Now Tyler Bowling's shot up no good. Rebounded there by Tyler Bowling, who was tipped by Spencer Kassan.
And I believe it's actually Kaysen. I think I heard the PA announcer, it's Kaysen, not Kassan, so we'll go with that from now on.
As a foul called here on Daniel Sapp as he was going up against Tyler Bowling.
That's the team's 4th foul, so only a couple more before Seton Hill's in a bonus. California is in the bonus as of the moment. 9:12 to go in the first half.
Now Nate Belhigh checks in for Tony Richardson. Allison inbounds it over to number 1, Trevor Blondin. Kaysen with it. Blondin for 3, it's up and good. Nothing but net for Trevor Blondin.
And he's got 8 now to lead all scorers. You're starting to let him get pretty good rhythm on the offensive side, and just like that, it's back to a 6-point lead.
Now Khalil Jabby with it. Jabby inside off the back of looked like Kaysen as Blondin goes and stolen away by Nate Belhigh. What a play. Cordell Smith's got 2 offensive players there. Nick Miller up and good. Easy money there for the Vulcans.
I was going to say, if Cordell Smith does not see the 2 guys wide open down near the basket, that's not going to be a good move on his part because he had Sapp and Miller right there, and Seton Hill was starting to close. It's a good thing he got that pass off when he did.
He is a little shorter, though, so might not have been able to get the pass cleanly, so he waited there. As now Spencer Kaysen has it. Bowling outside to Herman. Herman's 3 up, no good. Rebounded there by number 1, Blondin. Blondin shot up, no good. Rebounded by Nate Belhigh.
California's got to get a more firm grip on these rebounds during the game.
Nick Miller now to Cordell Smith. Now Jabby. Jabby trying to drive the lane. Now to Nick Miller. Hands it off to Khalil Jabby. Jabby setting up his offense with 10 on the shot clock. 7:45 to go in the first half. Belhigh for 3. It's up and good. Nate Belhigh gets California within 1.
And about time California hit a 3. That may be a spark plug to get something going. We're going to see Dombrowski check in.
Now Belhigh to Cordell Smith. It's up and good. Easy money for California, who takes the lead 20-19 as we have a timeout called on Seton Hill, and a much-needed one as the California Vulcans are starting to finally take those turnovers and put some points onto the board.
Yeah, well, look right here. They have forced 7 turnovers. That is half of what they average a contest. And you still have 7:27 left in the first half right now, as this will count as the media timeout as well, just to mention. But California's defense is showing a lot of improvement so far in this game. And I mentioned there's a few things I want to look for in these last 4 games under Coach Bill Brown to maybe build momentum for the next coach that comes in. Defensive improvement and ability to create turnovers. Offensive improvement and ability to pass the ball a little bit better and find the shot that presents itself to you from the defense. Don't force anything. We're kind of seeing that here
We
today.
are seeing a little bit of forced passes and shots.
Yeah, and the third thing is I want to see Tony Richardson blossom into the guy he needs to be for California. If he can, then California has a cemented piece in their lineup for the next 2 seasons that will give them one of the best postmen in the conference based on his rebounding and his offensive ability to, like you saw, try and slam it home, even if it may not be in the best kind of situations. But the one thing he's got to work on is his defense. He likes to get a little antsy and get a lot of fouls. If he can work on that, I think he'll be fine.
And then when he gets fouls called against him, he gets frustrated. And then
he keeps getting more and more, and you see him out of the game. Yeah, exactly. And one thing we haven't mentioned is Richard Smith is not playing right now because of those 2 fouls. So in my estimation, their best player is not playing, and California's been able to come back and win. Or not win, but take the lead. Because I was thinking, the last time I was at this arena, the McKenna Center, California was down 21 points at halftime, and they were able to come back and win and clinch a PSAC playoff berth that night. So it's not out of the realm of possibility for California to beat this team. They should have the first time they met. And if they had, who knows? Maybe California would be looking at possible playoff seeds if they keep on winning out. But now they're eliminated. You got to do some spoiling.
As now Zach Herman has it. Seton Hill trying to take back the lead. Cordell Smith runs into a pick there by Spencer Kaysen, who has the ball now. Kaysen passes it over to Blondin. Blondin goes over to Bowling. Bowling going against Josh Dombrowski, who gets it to fall through. Bowling gives Seton Hill the lead now.
And he averages 8.5 a night. He's a sophomore from Hamilton, Ohio.
And Jusek hands it over to Khalil Jabby. Jabby, guarded by Bowling. Goes to Cordell Smith. Belhigh for 3. It's good. Belhigh gives California the 2-point lead.
Maybe we're seeing the Belhigh we saw against UPJ, where he was on fire that night from distance. And it's a shame to only see Belhigh for 1 year as a California Vulcan, because he's been a very good player for them.
As now Zach Herman has it for the Seton Hill Griffins. Guarded by Cordell Smith. Herman goes to Bowling. He hands it up to Blondin. Back over to Herman for 3. It's good. Herman takes the lead. Khalil Jabby with it now. Cordell Smith. Miscue there, trying to hand it off to Luka Andjusic, who drives through as he was going up, and there's going to be a foul called. Oh, they're going to call a travel first. As I do agree, Luka Andjusic took a lot of steps to get there, cradling that basketball.
I agree. In my opinion, though, a foul should overrule a travel, because he was fouled. I think a foul should be a foul, no matter what, even if the player was traveling. I'm one of those guys that think players should always get in favor of a foul instead of his own mistake.
As we see Alston with it now. Goes over to number 21, Noah Davis. Back to Alston. Inside, picked off by Belhai.
That's his third steal today. He's having a good game.
As a dangerous pass by Luka Andzusic to Khalil Jabi. Out of bounds.
And Jabi's frustrated with Andzusic, like, why are you passing it too far ahead of me? I'll say this in the best way possible. I'm not trying to sound harsh. Khalil Jabi's got to get that ball. I don't care how far ahead of you it is. You got to get the ball.
And I know we were talking about in the broadcast on the radio what happens if the ball goes over to the Westmoreland Sports broadcasters, and it did, actually. There's a foul called on number 1, Josh Dombrowski.
Yeah, and our broadcast partners, Damon Madsen and Gary Smith, are down there as well. Hopefully they're not going to get hit with anything. I remember a couple years ago, Cody Jeanette, our good friend, of course, no depth perception, and we have to say that. Just probably not the best situation for him to be next to a court.
As Noah Davis goes over to Allison. Allison's shot's rebounded there by Cordell Smith. Cordell Smith speeding down the court to Khalil Jabi. 4-3, it's up. And no good. Rebounded there by number 21, Noah Davis.
That one just rimmed down. I thought Dombrowski was going to get the offensive board.
Blondin is going to go up for 2, and Khalil Jabi's going to get called for a blocking foul.
Well, I agree with this because we don't have replay, unfortunately, here today because it's a one-camera shoot. 5:03 left, Seton Hill up 1. But Jabi set himself, and then when the Seton Hill player, Blondin, made a move, he moved his foot. You can't do that if you want to get the charge called.
And just talked to Mickey Glenn about getting those charge calls.
Or Barrett.
Or Sierra Barrett. That one falls through for Trevor Blondin as Tony Richardson checks in, as does Daniel Sapp.
Bill Brown taking out Belhai, and Belhai right now is your leading scorer, tied with Nick Miller, and you're taking out his offensive ability, and he's also been a very good defensive player for you so far.
Blondin's second is up and good. 26-23 in favor of Seton Hill. 5 minutes remaining in the first half.
Cal's got to find a way to stop Blondin. He has 10 of the 26 points for Seton Hill. He's the only reason they're up right now.
Luka Andzusic looked at 3, goes over to Khalil Jabi. Takes a 3-point shot. It's up and good. Khalil Jabi ties it here with 4:45 to go in the first half.
I want to know, where's this Khalil Jabi on offense been all year long? He's got 7 points right now before halftime, where it seems like he's not getting 7 points until the end of the
Reverse
game.
layup is good. Trevor Blondin really making California pay here on offense. Now Cordell Smith over the half-court line. Cordell Smith inside to Daniel Sapp. Daniel Sapp put back 2. No good. Right off of Tony Richardson. And didn't even see it hit him.
I don't think he was expecting it to float right over the basket and come down and hit him. I think he was expecting it to catch rim and him jump up for it. But Daniel Sapp just a little too strong on that shot. We see Miller check in for Cordell Smith.
Zach Herman now for the Seton Hill Griffins takes it. Bowling hands it off back to Herman. 4 minutes remaining in the half. Blondin with it. Hands it over to Noah Davis. Now, Alston. Now Blondin for 3. It's up and good. Trevor Blondin. And you're not stopping him right now. That's a 3-point shot.
That's 16 for Trevor Blondin. Like I said, he's the only reason they are winning this game. If California can stop him, Cam Taylor's out of the contest too. You're trying to find ways to beat this team. Trevor Blondin is the way to go.
Jabi to Richardson, who gets that shot to fall. What a shot there by Richardson.
And Richardson's got 7 now, and he did hit his 1 free throw that he was at the line for. He's doing good on the offensive side. Need to see him improve on the defense a little bit.
And a travel here on Zach Herman as we've reached our final media timeout with 3 minutes and 20 seconds left in the first half. California down 31-28 here at Seton Hill. Both teams have 6 fouls, so both of them are in the bonus 1-on-1, whoever fouls next.
California is shooting 41.7%, but Seton Hill 54.5. You got to improve your defensive efficiency if you're California. You're forcing the turnovers, but you're not scoring off them. Let's look at the points off turnovers, Anthony. That's always a stat I like to look at. And 6 each right now, but California feels like they should have so many more. Forced 9 turnovers. I feel like you should probably have at least 10 to 12 points. I feel like, honestly, if I was the coach, if you got a turnover, I want you scoring every single time. And second chance points, 7-2 in favor of Seton Hill. So Seton Hill, when they get the offensive boards, they're putting them in as well.
Well, and looking at some score updates around the PSAC. East Stroudsburg leading Kutztown 23-19.
That's a big game because that one might determine who wins the number 1 seed out east for the men. And East Stroudsburg trying to claw their way into the NCAA conversation.
Mercyhurst leading UPJ with 2:17.5, 28-26. Clarion falling to Edinburgh 32-29, 4:20 left to go in the first half. Actually, that's 32-31 now in favor of Edinburgh with 4:04 left. Westchester leading Mansfield 21-11 with 13:01 left in the first half.
And Westchester needs to start getting some more wins. They've lost twice this year to East Stroudsburg. They need more wins because right now they should be almost as close to a lock as you can find in the PSAC in terms of an NCAA team, them and IUP. But if they keep losing like they have over the last few weeks, then they're going to find themselves knocked out.
Sap to Nick Miller. Inside to Tony Richardson. Richardson over to Luka Andzusic. 4-3, it's up and good. Luka Andzusic ties it here with 3 minutes to go in the half.
And that was a beautiful find by Tony Richardson. That long outlet pass into the corner. Had some zip on that one as well. I think that's what made it so good. 2:50 left, all tied up.
Could have taken a shot there, but didn't. And that was a three-point shot. It's good. And that one is number 21, Noah Davis. So it's 3-point contest so far here after that media timeout.
And Seton Hill only shoots about 34% from deep per game. They're shooting over 50% right now.
Miller for 3, it's up and good. Nick Miller ties it back.
And I think this kind of game actually suits the Vulcans better than the Griffins because Seton Hill's relying on a couple players, whereas California, they're getting contributions from almost everybody. Richardson, Jabby have 7, Miller has 9, Belhigh has 6.
As an errant pass by Noah Davis, as we see Belhigh come back in. And Coach Brown is actually up there on the court there. When that 3-point shot was hit by Nick Miller, you can see him getting up and clapping, cheering on his team. Good to see there.
I think that is good to see. For those of you who don't know, Coach Brown has had some health issues over the last few years. As we see Richardson going in.
Has a foul call here on Spencer Kaysen, and it's a good foul. It looked like he hit ball, but he also did hit Tony Richardson on the arm.
Yeah, and Richardson going to go to the line for 2. But back to what I was saying, Coach Brown, he's had some health issues, not been able to get as enthusiastic. I think in his final 4 games, though, we're going to see a different side of Coach Brown than you and I have ever seen. It's good to see him get excited and stand up for his team when something good happens. I love seeing that because Coach Brown, he is one of the best guys I've ever met in terms of a coach in the conference.
As Tony Richardson missed his first foul shot, still tied here at 34 with 1:56 remaining in the first half. Tony Richardson readies his second. Up and good. Tony Richardson gives Cal the 1-point lead.
I think what I like to see from Tony Richardson is in terms of his free throw shooting, I mentioned it's gotten a lot better. He's calm now when he goes to the line. He's not frantic and nervous thinking, oh man, I got to shoot these free throws. He's calm. And if he misses, he's not holding his head down.
Davis for 3, rims out, rebounded there by Tony Richardson. Now Jabby. Jabby over to Nick Miller. Now to Belhigh, 4-3, it's up, no good. Rebounded there by Trevor Blondin. Now Zach Herman with it. Noah Davis.
Tony Richardson also with 5 rebounds. He's kind of almost halfway to a double-double now.
Herman up for 2. It's up, no good. Rebounded there by Kaysen. 3-point shot by Herman. It's up and good. So missed that one. Rebounded by Kaysen, who gets it back to him for 3 points.
And you can't have that happen if you're Cal U. At worst, settle for a 2 and a tip-in, but now Seton Hill with the lead.
Under a minute remaining. 37-35 in favor of Seton Hill. Miller over to Belhigh. Now to Andzusic. Passes over to Nick Miller. Andzusic with it. 2 points up, no good. Rebounded there by Kaysen. As Zach Herman now with it, slowing his pace down, winding that shot clock down to about
9-second difference.
9-second difference. Herman. Guarded by Nick Miller. 8 to shoot. Blondin goes over now. It's Davis. Davis for 3 up. No good. In and out. 10 seconds left. Luka Andrusik 2-on-1. Goes up, fake pass, and there's a foul called on number 21, Noah Davis. Not a bad decision, but I would have liked to see him pass it to Nate Belhide.
Yes, I would have much preferred that. Luka Andrusik is very lucky to get that foul called because that could have just been disaster after Tony Richardson just Peyton Manninged it down the court. And Jusic, he should have passed out to Belhide, but he gets the opportunity to at least tie it here if he can make both. At the line this year, 81.3%.
First one is good. 6 seconds left as Drew Cook subs in for Nick Miller.
And that's a defensive substitution. Drew Cook, one of the best defensive players Cal has.
Lukan Jusic could tie it here. 6 seconds left. Up and good. Tie ball game here as Zach Herman speeding up the court. 3 seconds. Now one. Trevor Blondin, deep 3, up, no good. Not enough mustard there. It's tied at halftime here, 37-37. And Zach, California really clawed their way back to tie this game. What did you like?
I liked that they were able to claw back. The defense has led to the offense, something we don't usually see from Cal. They've been able to hit their shots. Once they hit 1-3, they started hitting them in bunches. They're shooting about 42% in the game right now. They're getting better offensive tendencies, but also on the defensive side as well.
And as I said before, at halftime now, 37-37 all here at Seton Hill University. Stay tuned for more action here on CUTV as California looks to come back and win the contest in the second half.
With Cal U's 6 on-campus residence halls and Vulcan Village's garden-style apartment complex, University Housing offers the very best value in service, convenience, privacy, and security. On-campus students will have easy access to classrooms, the newly renovated Natali Student Center, and a variety of activities across campus. University Housing Properties includes all utilities. Other common amenities to all properties are fully furnished rooms, high-def cable TV, high-speed Wi-Fi access, and live-in professional staff. Vulcan Village also includes a full kitchen and laundry room. The property has a 24/7 fitness center, convenient shuttle service, and an outdoor seasonal saltwater pool. Model rooms and tours are available. Stop in the University Housing Office or contact us by phone or email to learn more.
And welcome back to the campus of Seton Hill University in Greensburg, Pennsylvania, where the California Vulcans and Seton Hill Griffins are tied 37-37. Hello again, I'm Anthony D'Agostino. Alongside me is Zach Prosva. And Zach, this California team was down by quite a few points. It came back to tie it late in the first half.
Well, I mentioned the one time I've been here to see any games against Seton Hill for California. The first game was the women's game where Paige Alviani for Seton Hill hit about a quarter shot at the buzzer to win it, and it's like, oh, darn. But then the men came back from 21 down to beat Seton Hill and get into the playoffs, and the way they're doing it today is all in their defense. As long as their defense continues to play the way they have been in the first half, I feel like they're going to be able to come away with the victory. Big thing to note, Cam Taylor, Seton Hill's best player, did not play a lot in the first half. Trevor Blondin went off. Richard Smith did not play a lot in the first half. Tony Richardson, Nick Miller, they were able to play a little bit better. So we're going to see some premier players in this contest in the second half.
Shot there, no good. Rebound by Tony Richardson. You mentioned Trevor Blondin. He has 16 points for this Seton Hill offense and no fouls as California now has possession. Goes to Richard Smith.
Tony Richardson right now, 7 rebounds to go with his 8 points. He's having a tremendous day so far.
Kick ball violation here against Seton Hill. That's number 5, Cameron Taylor.
And I think something that could really spark this California team, Richard Smith getting a dunk. There's nothing more exciting than watching Richard Smith dunk in any of these games. I think that could really spark this team.
Tony Richardson gets blocked by number 2, Spencer Kaysen.
And that's why he leads the conference in blocks. He's a very good shot blocker and just great defensive ability there.
3-point shot by Noah Davis. It's good. Can't leave him wide open.
Yeah, he's shooting 38% from distance this year. While not great, it's still respectable. And the student section for Seton Hill down in the bucket now where they're shooting. They're getting into it.
As now Khalil Jabby down by 3, 18:55 to go in the second half. Nick Miller over to Khalil Jabby. Now Jabby goes inside, looks for 2, instead goes over to Nick Miller. 4-3, it's up. No good, misses everything as the shot clock was winding down.
May have been tipped. I'm not sure because we're a little bit far away from it.
Tipped by Luka Andzusic as that pass was going to Trevor Blondin.
And they are crediting Cameron Taylor with a block, so that one must have been slightly altered going in the air. That's why it just fell short of the basket.
Houston to Blondin. Now Taylor. Cameron Taylor. Double team there as Trevor Blondin has it now. Blondin going up for 2 points. This is going to be a foul called and one coming. Wow.
I didn't even see that one fall in. Wow.
It stayed on the rim.
I didn't see that one fall in. Yeah, I did not see that one fall. And this one, they say it's going on number 3 for Cal.
Avery Almond is not on the court. I promise you that.
They're saying, okay, it's going on Nick Miller. I guess the table missed the 2 after that, so that's Miller's first. Blondin right now has 19 points. You got to find a way to stop him because he's the only reason Seton Hill is up this big right now.
As he makes that free throw count. 43-37 the score in favor of Seton Hill. 18-18 left in the second half. Khalil Jabby now to Richard Smith. Richard Smith goes to Luka Andzusic. Andzusic inside to Tony Richardson. Richardson fighting for everything, goes up for 2, misses everything. And rebounded there by Seton Hill.
I like the aggression there from Richardson, though, to bully his way into the paint and towards the basket. Just couldn't get the friendly roll.
3-point shot is up and good from way downtown. It's Noah Davis.
And Seton Hill has come out on a 9-0 run to start this half.
California fought back before. Now Khalil Jabby has it. Jabby goes over to Richard Smith. Smith is going to get fouled there by number 21, Noah Davis.
That's his third. Maybe you'll get him out of the contest now. He's starting to hurt California.
Yeah, Noah Davis on that one just held Richard Smith from being able to get into the paint as Nate Belhigh comes in, checks in for Richard Smith, actually.
And Richard Smith just, maybe today's not his day. Maybe we're going to have to rely on Belhigh and Richardson for the big opportunities.
Richardson put up and good. Tony Richardson gets those 2 points to fall in the paint.
And he's got 10 now. He leads the Vulcans. This is the first time he's been in double digits, I want to say in maybe a month or so. But it's very good to see the offensive development from Tony Richardson.
Casson with it. Loses the ball as it goes out of bounds off of Trevor Blondin. So lucky break there for California.
And you know what? Maybe that was a good thing Drew Cook's dive wasn't successful because it went in the way of California. And he came up just short. I was thinking, oh, man, how close that would have been. He would have been able to get the ball, but it went California's way anyways.
Now, lucky break there because even if he had it and got a finger on it, even if it didn't go to bounds, Seton Hill might have been able to pounce on it as Nate Belhigh goes to Richardson. Richardson inside to Luka Andzusic.
I don't think Andzusic wanted to get the pass there necessarily. I think he was sending a screen.
Andzusic shot up, no good. Rebounded there and there's a tripping foul there on Tony Richardson as Cameron Taylor was driving down the lane.
I don't even think he actually tripped him. I think he poked the ball, and Taylor may have hit himself in the foot with the ball and caused himself to trip. But Tony Richardson, because he was there, they're going to call a foul on him.
That is his first foul. Not getting into foul trouble really so far, which is good for him. As Noah Davis has it, hands it off to Cameron Taylor. Taylor, bounce pass, almost a kick ball there, but picked up by Tony Richardson.
And Richardson did kick it with his foot, but no call there, nothing doing.
Khalil Jabby to Tony Richardson, back to Khalil Jabby. Jabby wasn't ready for it as Cameron Taylor threw him to the ground and he's going to dunk it home. And Jabby's not happy about that call. And
where's the foul there? He's bullied Khalil Jabby to the court. Where's the foul? I don't care if you're at home. That's a foul.
That's a blatant foul. I apologize, but Khalil Jabby with it now, 48-39, as Bill Brown has to call a timeout to calm his team down.
Yeah, and again, where was that foul call? We don't have replay of it, so you'll have to go back and rewind it when you're watching this on YouTube. But Cam Taylor just threw Jabby down to the court. Now, Jabby just looked back, both at the refs and his team, like, well, there's nothing I can do now. He's going to go wide open to the basket. California has not started this half off very well, much like they did the first half. They're down big, but they have an opportunity to maybe come back and tie it again. We saw that in the first half. They got to get the shots to start falling. They haven't hit barely any shots this half. Only the one from Tony Richardson so far, as where Seton Hill has scored 11 points in this half already. A couple of threes. You had the dunk from Taylor. He only has 4 points now. But Trevor Blondin and Noah Davis are the big culprits for Seton Hill in this game today.
California so far today, turnovers. They have 8. Seton Hill has more turnovers than them, which is a rare stat to say that California has less turnovers than the team they're facing. 12 for Seton Hill, 8 for California. California has 10 points off of those turnovers and 8 for Seton Hill. But Seton Hill, 10 second chance points. You got to be able to get those rebounds on defense.
Yeah, that's where things are coming into question. Is California can't get the rebounds when they need them, and they can't score points off turnovers.
And basically, every time Seton Hill gets the offensive rebound, they put the ball back in the net.
Or they kick it out for a three.
They have 5 offensive rebounds, and they have 10 second chance points. So
you want to say they maybe converted on about 4 of those opportunities.
As Drew Cook has it now. 16:05 remaining in the contest. Khalil Jabby now to Nate Belhigh.
Richard Smith is back in for Richardson.
Khalil Jabby inside to Richard Smith. Belhigh for 3. It's up. No good. No foul call yet again as Noah Davis pushed Belhigh to the ground.
I think maybe the ref probably let that go. Just maybe he slipped or something.
As there's a missed shot there by Cameron Taylor, picked up by Khalil Jabby. Jabby for 3. It's up. No good. Almost, and he is out of bounds. Good call there. Number 14, Brandon Alston, is out of bounds.
Well, Kaysen threw it in trying to hit off Richard Smith, but it went right to his teammate, and he stepped out of bounds. So yeah, a nice try there by Kaysen to save it, just inadvertently went to his teammate who happened to stand right there with him.
Looking at some scores around the PSAC at halftime, East Stroud up 47-38 over Kutztown. UPJ over Mercyhurst 44-34 with 15:12 left in the second half. Clarion down at Edinburgh 47-42 with 18:30 left in the second half. Westchester up by 10 at halftime, 39-29. And Bloom and Lockhaven have yet to start.
And right now, we're just trying to see, does California have the ability to come back yet again in this game? I think they do. They have to improve themselves on the defensive side of the ball. I've said it all year long, calling these games the men's side, and I've been on the color analysis side of a lot of those games, that their defense is the one thing holding them back. They've given up 100 points a couple times this year. Of course, one of them was against West Liberty. You're going to do that anyways. I think that was an expected loss because they're one of the top 10 teams in the entire country, and they have a chance to win the national title every year, it seems. But California's defense has to improve if they're going to win this game today.
Khalil Jabby now to Luka Andzusic. Andzusik's up for 2 points and good for Luka Andzusic.
And that was a good move by Andzusic, and I thought Kaysen was maybe going to get there for the block, or even if he did, how late he was could have been a goaltending.
Deep 3 by Davis. It's good against Nate Belhigh. Now 10-point lead for the Griffins.
I mean, no matter where you put him, he's going to shoot the 3, and he's going to hit it apparently today. California's got to find a 3 of their own to get back in this one quickly.
Belhigh with it. Belhigh, spin move, going up for 2. It's up, no good, but there's a foul coming on number 5, Cameron Taylor. He doesn't believe he did anything wrong.
Yeah, and that is his third, or excuse me, his
third.
Yeah, his third. I accidentally missed one marking it before, so that is his third. Belhigh going to go to the line. This year, 69.8%. He started off really well, but then he got a little inconsistent with hitting his free throw shots.
10-point game for the Griffins, 51-41, with 15 minutes left in the contest. Belhigh's first is up and good. Now a 9-point game.
And Belhigh has 7. He's really contributing very well to the offensive side. Defensively as well, he had a few steals in the first half. He needs to rack that number up a little bit more.
Belhigh's second is up and good. So Belhigh converts there on those foul shots.
I think the one thing holding this offense back for the California is Richard Smith has not scored yet.
Alston with it. Inside, wide open. There was number 2, Spencer Casson, for the dunk.
And Richard Smith fell off of him, and he's looking back like, who's there to help me on the backside? I don't think it would have mattered if Jabby was there. Jabby clearly a size mismatch.
As there's a travel on Luka Andzusic, and I didn't see a travel there. He was dribbling the ball the entire time.
Yeah, I have no idea what that was there. I was not paying enough attention closely to tell you if I saw anything that maybe you didn't. I have no idea how that could have been a travel if he's dribbling the entire time.
Cameron Taylor's going to get fouled by Khalil Jabby. No shot.
That's Jabby's second, team third. California basically just needs 5 stops, and they need 5 possessions of their own to score to get back in this one.
Stolen away there by Drew Cook. That's what you need. 3-on-2, basically. Drew Cook up, no good. And there's going to be out of bounds on Cameron Taylor. Drew Cook looking for the foul.
And I think they let the foul go because Kaysen got a pretty decent block on that shot. But the way he hit the floor, you think maybe he could have drawn a foul himself. We're going to see Richardson in for Richard Smith, as Tony Richardson is having a much better day for the Vulcans than Richard Smith is.
Now Drew Cook with it. Almost stolen away, but Belhi's got it. He gets blocked by number 2, Spencer Casson.
That's his 4th block today.
Wow.
You can't go into the paint on this team. They got they have the best shot blocker in the conference.
It's Khalil Jabby to Drew Cook. 15 on the shot clock. Nate Belhi hands it off to Khalil Jabby.
What's amazing about Kaysen, too, is he doesn't foul either.
There's a foul there against number 14, Brandon Alston.
That's his second, team third.
Shot clock resets for the Vulcans.
California has to put points on the board in this possession, whether it be a field goal or a 3-point shot. They need something.
Now Jabby. Jabby. Pass it over to Luka Andzusic, who goes back to Jabby. Inside to Tony Richardson. Richardson up and good with the reverse layup.
That was a very good move by Richardson. He got Kaysen up in the air, dribbled again, and went back on the reverse.
Now Kaysen with it. To Alston. Alston trying to drive through, goes up on Tony Richardson. It's up and good, and a foul coming on Tony Richardson.
I did not see a foul there. And we don't have the beauty of replay in this one. I did not see Tony Richardson commit a foul on that shot. I think he completely missed him.
Well, that and you got the one referee talking to the coach over there. Looked like they've been talking for the entire first half. So you basically got 2 officials on the court. As going to have Brandon Alston try for the 3-point play. It's up and good. 11-point lead now for the Seton Hill Griffins, 13-30.
That's what California does not need. They score, and then Seton Hill responds with 3 points on a possession. You cannot have that happen anymore.
Khalil Jabby with it. Goes to Nick Miller. Miller back to Jabby. Now passes over to Drew Cook. Inside to Tony Richardson. There's going to be a foul called down low.
This one's going on Kaysen.
Number 2, Spencer Casson.
That's his second. You got to get him in foul trouble. Get him out of the game. He's the only thing
That's the key.
keeping you from the basket right now. Everybody else for Seton Hill, they're not playing very well on defense, I don't think, in my estimation. But Kaysen is.
As Khalil Jabby trying to pass it, he does to Nick Miller, who in turn gives it right back to Khalil Jabby. Back to Belhi. Belhi looked at 3, instead travels baseline, up for 2. It's up, no good. Rebounded there now at number 5, Cameron Taylor. As now, Seton Hill has it. 3-point shot by Davis, it's good. Wide open for 3. As Khalil Jabby passes it over to Miller, who goes to Belhi. Belhi thought 3, now goes back to Jabby. Jabby goes up for 2 points. It's up, no good, but there's a foul coming on number 2.
That's
Spencer Casson.
And that's the 15th foul. They only have 1 more to give. But, Anthony, did you hear the PA announcer when Noah Davis made that
He's
shot?
on fire.
They said, call the fire department. Davis is on fire. While I agree with them, He doesn't need to get that animated about it.
He's at home. He can do whatever he wants.
Although I will say he does get animated when Cal makes shots too. I'm actually okay with that. That's one things. You don't see announcers do that a lot. They don't cheer on the other team. Actually, he is. I actually like that.
He gets animated like he's a broadcaster. I respect that. Khalil Jabby makes his first free throw.
And we all know about animation. I mean, our good friend Matt Hagee, I mean, we coined the term MatCon because of how excited he got.
As Khalil Jabby makes his second shot. Timeout there by Cameron Taylor, giving Seton Hill the timeout they need. And Zach, talk about this timeout thing where the coaches aren't allowed to call a timeout. The players have to. What do you think about that?
I did not know that was a rule. Is that a new rule for this year?
A new rule for this year. The players have to call a timeout.
I mean, we're almost done with the season. I didn't know that. Wow.
Well, during a play, the players have to call a timeout. Coaches can't call a timeout for their team unless it's on the baseline and the play hasn't started yet. It's a new rule.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I did not study into that a little bit more, but I don't like that. That seems very bad because if a player is caught and he can't get his hands up to call a timeout, then he's in trouble and his coach can't save him. And the player with the ball has to call the timeout. Nobody else can on the court. So I don't like that. I'm not a very big fan of that.
It happened once before where the coach wanted to call a timeout. The player was asking the coach, do we want to call a timeout? The ref heard timeout and called a timeout on the team. And the coach didn't want to do it.
I remember that.
You remember that?
What game was that?
It was at home.
I want to say it might have been UPJ.
I think it was.
Or Mercyhurst, one of those two. I remember that now. Okay, now that all makes sense. Out of all the rule changes this year, that was the one that floated over my head. That's a very bizarre. I do not like it. I mean, we saw all the rule changes in the women's game when they go into quarters and regulation. They can move the ball at the end of it. And I mean, the men's game, they changed it into a 30-second shot clock, which I'm actually okay with. It makes play go a little bit faster. Yeah, but that's one I don't like. I think that's the one rule change that I'm not in favor of. And I honestly think, in my opinion, the men's game is going to move into quarters maybe next season or the year after. I think the women's game is just a test run for it now.
As we're back to action here, Trevor Blondin readies to inbound it.
You need to get another foul on Noah Davis. He's got 3. You get him 4, and he's going to have to sit for a while.
As Cameron Taylor speeds up the court, guarded there by Khalil Jabby, who gets to Noah Davis. 2-point shot there is up, no good. Rebounded by Tony Richardson. Now Jabby. Jabby goes over to Miller. 4-3, it's up and good. Nick Miller for 3. 9-point lead for Seton Hill. 11:57 to go in the second half.
Miller and Richardson now both with 12, and I thought that 3, when he shot it, I kind of motioned to you that one's in, but then it almost rimmed out. I was like, oh my gosh, really?
Now Cameron Taylor up. No good, but there is going to be a foul called on number 32, Nick Miller, as he knows he fouled him. To letting the ref know it was me, it was on me.
Yeah, we're going to see Taylor at the line this year, 73.4%. Not terrible, but he's also not great. He only has 4 points today when it comes in averaging 21 a night.
As his first is up and good. 10-point now as Luka Andjusic checks in for Drew Cook. Ready's the second. Taylor's shot is up and good. Now 11-point game again. Jabby goes to Luka Andjusic. Back to Jabby. Back to Andjusic, back to Jabby. Back to Andjusic. It's a Luka Andjusic Jabby show right now as it finally gets to the bell high. He goes inside to Tony Richardson, who just can't hold on to the ball. Picked up by Trevor Blondin.
And that was a wasted possession. You cannot have any more of those in this game if you're going to come back down by 11 with 11:13 left.
Noah Davis against Nate Belhigh. Goes to Blondin, back to Davis. Davis gets some space up on Luka Andjusic. Rebounded there. There's going to be a foul called on number 32, Nick Miller.
It's his third, and you got to watch his foul trouble. He's been one of your best offensive players today. And Davis at the line this year, 80%. He has 19 points right now, which is a game high, tied with Trevor Blondin with Seton Hill.
Shot is up, no good, off the front of the rim as Richard Smith checks in for Tony Richardson.
California needs Richard Smith to erupt. They need him to go on a big run. get them back in this game.
Second shot up and good. So 1 of 2 from that. Now leading by 12 with 11 minutes to go are the Griffins. Miller with it. Goes to Jabby. Now Andjusic back to Jabby. Jabby. Nick Miller. Miller to Jabby. Jabby thought about 3, instead drives in for 2. It's up and put back there by Richard Smith, but couldn't get it and goes right to Trevor Blondin. Blondin speeding down the court. Slows it down. Goes to Cameron Taylor. Taylor to Casson. Now Blondin. Blondin for 3. It's up and good. Trevor Blondin with 3 points.
There's just no stopping the three-point shot for Seton Hill today. They're shooting 66.7%. They're hitting
Unreal.
2 out of every 3 three-point shots.
Unreal.
I mentioned they came in shooting about 34%.
Belhi's shot up good and 1 coming. Foul called here
We'll see this goes on.
on number 14.
That's Alston.
That's his 3rd of the game.
Belhi now into double digits. He has 10.
His shot up and good. 3-point play there for Nate Belhi.
12-point game, 10-10 left. There's still plenty of time to be able to come back.
Cameron Taylor with it now. Taylor going against the Vulcans. Goes up and good. What a move on Richard Smith. Cameron Taylor put on. 67-53. 9:53 remaining in the game. Jabby to Luke Andjusic. Back to Jabby. Over to Nick Miller. Miller driving through. Goes to Luke Andjusic. 4-3. It's up and no good. But rebounded by Luke Andjusic. Put back up and good. Luke Andjusic, 2 points.
And a good follow through there by Andjusic on his own shot. I honestly thought he might have been clipped when he shot that 3.
Casson with the dunk. 69-55 with 9:25 in the second half.
California has to find something on defense to go their way.
Miller to Jabby. Back to Miller. Miller for 3. Blocked shot there by Cameron Taylor. Now, Blondin. Blocked by Khalil Jabby. Goes right to Nick Miller, who wasn't ready for it, who goes to Khalil Jabby. Jabby, stolen away by Blondin, but saved by Luke Andjusic. Jabby. Belhi for 3. It's up. No good. Rebounded by Caston as Richard Smith got boxed out.
I thought that 3 was going to go in. The way he shot it looked like a nice shot, but we're going to see Cordell Smith check in at the next stop for the Vulcans.
Casson to number 14, Brandon Alston. Alston shot up and no good. Rebounded by Luke Andjusic. Andjusic. Nick Miller. Miller's shot up. No good. And Richard Smith trying to get it and push his own player to give now Seton Hill the ball back.
Richard Smith just not having a good day. No points, barely a couple rebounds. If that, not a good day for him at the office.
Easy 2 points missed there by Brandon Alston. But Cameron Taylor picks it up and puts up the shot. No good. Rebounded there by Khalil Jabby.
4 on 3 for the Vulcans. You got to take advantage of it.
Jabby Richard Smith with the alley-oop dunk. Couldn't get it into his hands. As now Noah Davis for 3. It's up and no good. Rebounded there by Nick Miller.
And see, this is the point of the game where California needs to take advantage because Seton Hill's missing their shots.
Luke Andjusic to Richard Smith for the 2 points. Finally, Richard Smith gets onto the board with 7:38 to go in the game.
I think that's the best way to describe it. Finally, Cal's best player just now gets on the board. You cannot have that.
Now, Trevor Blondin with it. Blondin going around the defense to Casson, but couldn't get it as Luke Andjusic's got a 3 on 2. Andjusic for 3. It's up, no good. Rebounded there by Seton Hill. It was fought for there. Now, Noah Davis with it. Goes up for the dunk and 1 on Luke Andjusic as the crowd goes wild.
That's 22 from Noah Davis now.
Khalil Jabby with it. 71-57 to score. 6:55 to go in the game. Jabby to Nick Miller. Back to Jabby. Andjusic with it. Richard Smith gets the block there by number 5, Cameron Taylor. And he really can't get anything going in the paint. They just have that paint sealed up.
And Seton Hill is the one team in the conference with the height to be able to disrupt Richard Smith.
Noah Davis, Trevor Blondin, contested three is good. He can't miss tonight. Contested there by Nick Miller.
Well, Seton Hill, I mentioned, they need to start winning if they're going to get a playoff spot, and this is a good start for them. Now up 17 with 6:15 left.
Luka Andzusic to Khalil Jabi, 4-3. No good, flat shot there. Belhai with it, goes up and 2 points for Nate Belhai as we have a timeout called by Coach Brown. 74-59 the score for Seton Hill with 6:04 remaining in the contest. And Zach, this Seton Hill team is on fire right now.
They have scored 37 points in this half. They have matched their first half output already. The way that they're going, the offensive pace that they have, I wouldn't be surprised if they hit 100 today. They're only 26 points away. What's to preclude them from doing it? California's defense has done nothing to say, in my estimation, that they cannot limit them less than 100 points. Because all Seton Hill is doing is attacking in the post, and then when they can't, kick it out for a three, and they can't miss, like you said.
Trevor Blondin, 4 for 6, and Noah Davis, 5 for 8. 25 points for Trevor Blondin, 22 for Noah Davis. And even though the California Vulcans are contesting the three-point shots for the most part, they're still falling in. It's like they have perfected the three-point shot.
Yeah, it's like the McKenna Center rims are just being very friendly. I mean, tomorrow is Valentine's Day, so maybe they're showing some love to the Seton Hill Griffins today. And Cal just cannot find a lucky break on the shots. They need something to go right. I mean, 15 points in 6 minutes is a stretch. It's not impossible, but you got to stop Seton Hill from scoring.
Richard Smith and Cordell Smith have the fewest points, 2 points for both of them. As we're getting ready to go back to action here, California only shooting 37% from the field. Seton Hill 55.1%.
And 64.7 from deep. So just playing the perimeter, make him go inside. They can't hit those shots there, apparently.
Picked up there by Cameron Taylor. Now, we have number 35 for Seton Hill, who's not on our roster. It's number 20, Tyler Bowling, has it.
35 is Patrick O'Connor, and he was not listed on the roster online for Seton Hill.
As that pass goes out of bounds, Tony Richardson tipped it out. O'Connor passes it deep to Noah Davis. Blondin. O'Connor for block shot by Tony Richardson. Now Cordell Smith. Now to Daniel Sapp. To Cordell Smith. Nick Miller with it. Miller double team, goes over to Daniel Sapp, to Cordell. Inside to Tony Richardson. Tipped away there by Davis as that goes to Trevor Blondin. Inside, reverse layup up and good for Tyler Bowling. Cordell Smith with it now. Daniel Sapp to Cordell. Inside to Dombrowski, but couldn't control it. Now Trevor Blondin has it. Blondin just couldn't corral it, was O'Connor. They were really trying to get those dunks to go through. So we have a timeout. Just an official's one, no harm, no foul. 4:51 remaining. Cordell Smith has it. Now Daniel Sapp. Daniel Sapp, 4-3, it's up, no good. Rebounded there by Tony Richardson. Picked up by Daniel Sapp. Now Cordell, 4-3. That one's no good. Rebounded there by Cameron Taylor. California 6 for 23 from the three-point line. Taylor. Cameron Taylor goes up for 2 points and just easily puts it over Nick Miller's head for 2 points.
And surprisingly, Cam Taylor just hit 10 points. I mentioned he's the leading scorer for the Griffins team, but Trevor Blondin and Noah Davis have had no problems finding their points today, 25 and 22 each.
Cordell Smith, Nick Miller for three, it's up and good. Nick Miller hits a three-point shot finally, 78-62 3:50 left in the game.
That's 15 today for Nick Miller. He's the team's leading scorer. Bell High right behind him with 13.
Bowling with it. Goes over to Noah Davis. Now Trevor Blondin, contested three is up, no good. Almost said it's good, because I've been saying it all day.
I think that's the first time we've said contested three that did not fall for Blondin.
Goes to Nick Miller, and Miller's shot up and good. Nick Miller for 2 points. 3:20 left. Now Cameron Taylor with it. Taylor to Bowling. Bowling hands it off to number 1, Trevor Blondin, who goes to Noah Davis. Now Cameron Taylor with it. Contested shot up, no good. Easy rebounded there by the Vulcans. The Seton Hill backpedaled away. Nick Miller thought about a three. Now goes to Tony Richardson. Daniel Sapp. Nick Miller, contested three is up, no good. Rebounded by himself, who puts up a shot, is up and good for Nick Miller.
He's got 19 the last 7 for the Vulcans. It's back to a 12-point game. Hey, I mean, maybe this isn't out of the realm of possibility. 2:30 left.
As there's a timeout now called by Seton Hill, as that will be the media timeout. 2:29 to go. Seton Hill up 78-66 over top of the California Vulcans. And Zach, we're going to take a look at some of the score updates around the PSAC. East Stroudsburg up over Kutztown 58-52 with 13:56 left in the contest. UPJ leading big over Mercyhurst 62-49 with 3:59 to go in the second half. Clarion down at Edinburgh 74-64 with 7:38 to go in the second half. Westchester up by 3 over Mansfield 43-40 with 15:37 left. And Bloom over Lockhaven 18-14 with 11:12 left in the first half.
In California, I mentioned 2:29 left, 12-point game. At this point, you can't let them score again. And at some point, though, you're going to have to start fouling. And it's still only single bonus for both teams. And Seton Hill, only a 68.3% free throw shooting team. So they're not necessarily all great at the line. There are some players out there that you can foul that can maybe lead to misses and give potential rebounds for California. There's not a lot of time, but California has to have a sense of urgency right here.
As Trevor Blondin will inbound it for Seton Hill. Again, 2:29 remaining, 78-66 in favor of Seton Hill. Taylor with it. Noah Davis now. Passes it over to O'Connor. Now to Bowling. Cameron Taylor with it. Taylor goes to Noah Davis. Back to Taylor for three. Up, no good. Rebounded by Khalil Jabby. Jabby's got some numbers. Nick Miller for three. It's up. No good. Rebounded by Daniel Sapp, who gets to put back 2 points. 78-68, 10-point game, 2 minutes to go.
I've seen this story before here at Seton Hill. Maybe we can do it again.
Travel against Seton Hill's number 5, Cameron Taylor. So California with 1:54 can cut the lead a little bit here.
10-point game, 1:54 left.
Subbing in for O'Connor, number 14, Brandon Alston. As Nick Miller goes to Khalil Jabby.
Get the ball in the hands of Miller right now. He's been your best threat today.
Now to Andjusic, back to Jabby. Over to Nick Miller. Jabby goes to Nick Miller, 4-3, it's up. No good, rebounded though by Belhigh. Belhigh to Andjusic. Andjusic for 2, it's up, no good. Rebounded there by Noah Davis, who loses control of the ball, but finally gets it. Now Cameron Taylor, up on Khalil Jabby. His shot is up and good. 80-68 with 1:20 to go.
All you need is 4 3-pointers and 4 stops, basically.
California 7 for 27 from the three-point line. Missed shot there as Daniel Sapp couldn't get the rebound. It goes to Cameron Taylor. Noah Davis now. As Seton Hill's going to wind down this clock. Cameron Taylor just holding on. under a minute now, 50 seconds remaining. 10 seconds on the shot clock. And basically it's all but over for the California Vulcans this game. As Noah Davis contested three is good. I mean, seriously, that was about 5 to 10 feet away from the three-point line.
Well, when you let two players get 25 each, it's going to be hard to win on any given day.
Jabby to Andrzejczyk, back to Jabby. Now to Nick Miller. Over to Jabby. Jabby for three, it's up, no good. Rebounded, though, by Cameron Taylor. And that'll be it. 15 seconds left. We'll see if they take a shot or just hold it.
Oh, they should hold it. That's very unsportsmanlike if they decide to take a shot, and they will hold it, though. But we'd have to say it wasn't all California's fault. It's not their fault that the basketball gods shined brightly on Seton Hill's shots today. No matter how much defense California put in their face, nothing worked.
And standing ovation here at Seton Hill for their home squad. 83 to 68 the final score. And Zach, and break down what happened. California was tied at halftime, and they just couldn't come back in the second half.
Honestly, I don't know how much you could really put the blame on Cal. Seton Hill could not miss.
They had less turnovers than Seton Hill.
Yeah, exactly. But when they turned Seton Hill over, they couldn't get the shots. And then they were forcing the three at the end of the game, and they couldn't get those to fall in. And then they couldn't get the rebounds. And Seton Hill could not miss. I don't know how much you can exaggerate. Seton Hill could not miss today. No matter what they did, they would finally get in the spells of missing, and California would miss as well. So it didn't even out. In California, they have 3 games left to maybe give Bill Brown another win before he's off into retirement.
Well, again, the final score here at Seton Hill, 83 to 68 in favor of the Griffins. This is the first game of 3 straight road trips. Our next broadcast will be from the Hammermill Center in downtown Erie, Pennsylvania, where they face on the Gannon Golden Knights. For Zach Prosba, for our entire CUTV cameraman crew, Gary Smith, Ryan Kaufman, Mike Mays. Thanks, everyone, for listening. I'm Anthony D'Agostino. Until next time, have a great day.